four ways British and American malls are very different. Really curious to see what we got with this, see why the malls in America are different than the malls in the UK. Before we do get into this, appreciate if you guys can hit that subscribe button. Let's see what we got.
Shopping malls are dying, say headline writers and my wife's cousin Chad. In 2007, 1 year before I left Britain for a new life in the US, no new mall was constructed in America for the first time in half a century. This was in stark contrast to the 90s when more than 100 popped up every year. For my younger viewers, physical shopping was so central.
Wait, 100 popped up every year?
To people's lives in the 90s that we let Jingle All the Way succeed at the box office. But the rise of online shopping, not to mention the COVID-19 pandemic, has seen some of these once bustling complexes turn into ghost malls. And I don't mean that your great-great...
It does make sense because a lot of people just do online shopping. But still, like, a lot of people still prefer to go to the malls and, like, see what you actually get. You could try on there as well, so...
Granddad haunts the Cheesecake Factory. I mean that the malls in question have a declining occupancy rate of 70% or less. In fact, I saw this grim reality play out in the very city to which I moved 16 years ago this week, Anderson, Indiana. Mounds Mall had displayed all the signs of terminal illness, including the fact that its most eye-catching feature was a photo booth. And since I left Britain, malls across the pond have faced similar challenges when it comes to attracting customers.
Right, they will do.
So, as somebody who's been a customer in both countries, I figured I'd compare British and American malls while they're still with us.
Yo! The craziest difference that I've seen personally is you guys have that mall in America. I think it's called Mall of America or something like that. And you have a whole ass roller coaster in it, bro. Like you got rides in it. That's mad. And I swear there's like a ski slope as well. Bro, that's insane.
But I can't do that without first addressing the fact that in Britain, we don't usually call them malls. We call them shopping centres or shopping precincts if we want to sound posh. Now, that doesn't mean that Britain didn't have a huge say in the word's creation. You see, even though mall feels somehow American, Britain was the first to use it as a standalone word. It is indirectly derived from a 17th century Italian game called Palamaglio, or Pall Mall, the pronunciation of which can still be heard in London today, when locals pronounce the street name of the same name. Pall Mall. But the game, a precursor to croquet, was once played along this famous promenade, back before people could be
Wait, how does a game turn into a name for a shop? Like a shopping centre.
Up in post. It was from this fact that the promenade received the name that it goes by today, the human conveyor belt, but also the mall. This older definition of the word was also embraced by the United States, with the National Mall in DC having been named after the London one.
Oh, really?
Lawrence, what has this got to do with shops? And I'll tell you if you'll just let me finish talking. Promenade malls reserved for pedestrians would usually be flanked by storefronts. So, after the first indoor shopping centres emerged in 1950s America, the definition of malls shifted as the retail landscape did likewise.
Location.
Another major difference between British and American shopping centres is their location. You see, something that took me aback about Midwestern life, aside from billboards asking me if I'd found Jesus yet, was the degree to which US malls could be found far away from the town centre. Following the passage of the Interstate Highway Act in the US, the 1950s saw a big...
So not for all malls. I'm just going to say malls to keep it easy, yeah? Malls in the UK, not all of them are in the city centre, but most are. Like, you'll find most malls in the city centre, right? There will be some, like, there's a mall near me that isn't in Birmingham centre, but it's close by. So there will be malls where they're not, but most of the time, they're in the city centre.
Boom in car ownership.
So that's
as more and more Americans move from downtown and into the suburbs. Property groups capitalized on this by building big shopping centres near suburbs and along highways. On the one hand, downtown retailers suffered. On the other, it was a boom period for graffiti artists.
Yo, I'm not surprised there was like so many malls popping up then. Didn't he say like 100 a year? Because I was thinking, bro, there's only so many city centres. You know what I mean? So like, are you just gonna run out? But if you're putting them anywhere and everywhere, then makes sense.
However, this specific issue is less applicable to Britain. Why? Because most UK shopping centres are located downtown.
Right, they are.
There's still lots of graffiti. Anyway, growing up in the English town of Grimsby...
We probably do that in the UK because a lot of people do use public transport. And a lot of people are going in and out of the city centre. So it may as well have the mall there because then it can grab whatever they need and go.
I knew its shopping centre to be one such example. Completed in 1971, Freshney Place Shopping Centre was a sort of central hub where I'd bump into friends and pocket thieves. And because all bus routes led to Grimsby Town Centre, access to the mall, if you will, did not require a driving licence. Now, as I speak, Uncle Toby is probably typing, "Not all UK shopping centres are downtown. Ever heard of Meadowhall or Trafford Centre?"
Right,
well,
yeah.
Firstly, those are surely more the exception than the rule. And secondly, as somebody who's been to both, here's how I got there. By bus and by train and by accident. Look, Meadowhall has its own train station. To which
does
Uncle
it?
Toby will no doubt reply, so does Mall of America. Watch your
I didn't know that.
point. My point is that Britain is just more consistent around public transport. Yeah, I mean, some US malls are accessible by bus, but first of all, most Americans have neither the need nor the inclination to use them. And secondly, the buses in question differ wildly by frequency and availability and driver friendliness, but that's the same in Britain. Anyway, speaking of customer service, that brings us on to these. This video would be insanely rubbish if I didn't talk about the things for which malls are mostly known. The stores themselves, or shops as they're more widely known in Britain. Because teenagers are a key demographic, malls on either side of the pond usually have way too many clothing stores. From memory, H and or M is popular in both countries. That is true. However, Americans in Britain are just as unlikely to find an Old Navy as Brits in America are to find a Next. And the American discount store TJ Maxx was rebranded in Britain as T...
Oh, wait. You guys have TK Maxx, but you call it TJ Maxx?
TK Maxx to avoid confusion with the UK retailer TJ Hughes. Personally, after about 5 minutes in any of these, I'm usually ready for coffee. And while many UK shopping centres do have a Starbucks, America boasts only 6 Costa coffees. That's the UK's #1 coffee chain. 5 of them are found in Atlanta.
I don't like Costa. I definitely prefer Starbucks to Costa.
So, for reasons that aren't quite clear. Perhaps it has something to do with the fact that Costa Coffee, a British company, is owned by the Coca-Cola company, which originated and is headquartered in, you guessed it, Atlanta. Actually,
I'm sorry, Coca-Cola.
Anyway, back to the topic at hand. Remember a few minutes ago when I said this? But the rise of online shopping, not to mention the COVID-19 pandemic, has seen some of these once bustling complexes turn into ghost malls.
Yo, do you know what's the best thing about malls? I'm guessing you have it in America though. Is they have because they're in the city center, they have the best food places in the UK. So, we do have the occasional American restaurant in the UK, and then most likely will be in the malls or the city center. Do you know what I'm saying? Whereas they're not close by to us. There's not that many, right? So the best food is there, dude. I'm talking about the only way I can get a Five Guys is if I go close to a city center. Sometimes they do order to me, actually. I have ordered once, to be fair. But I know there's Popeyes in some city centers. And there's probably a bunch more other ones as well. Oh, Wingstop, isn't that an American? Is that an American restaurant? I'm not too sure. Fast food? I think it is. That's really good. I had that in Nottingham City Centre. That was banging.
Well, one other contributing factor in the demise of malls is the demise of anchor stores. What's an anchor store, Lawrence? An anchor store, often a department store, is a larger retailer with broad appeal. Think Macy's in the United States or Marks & Spencer in the UK. Since my move to the United States, both countries have witnessed the total collapse of major anchor tenants, often to the detriment of the mall in which they're housed. For instance, in 2009, the UK said goodbye to Woolworths, a division of the American Woolworths.
Oh my God, I remember Woolworths.
Company that went under in 1997. As somebody who left Britain in the wake of the Great Recession, I felt this one personally, because Woolworths was where I did my Christmas shopping every December 24th. And after moving...
I can't remember what Woolworths sold, but I remember the name somehow. I don't know if I've ever been in it. I must have, actually. I must have been in it, but I can't remember what it sells.
To the birthplace of the Great Recession, I encountered Americans feeling the same way about a department store called Sears. In fact, Mounds Mall from earlier in the video is home to the only Sears I ever visited. For it was here that I purchased a laptop tray to prevent my computer from overheating. Eventually, that Sears and later the mall itself went kaput, just like my laptop. It just goes to show that nothing in this world is too big to fail, which brings us on to this.
The biggest of them all.
On my secret live stream, a patron rightly suggested, I'm quite sure that Britain has nothing like Mall of America, even Trafford Centre in Manchester. Given that Mall of...
Yo, I've seen Mall of America. Bro, it is massive. I am certain we don't have anything that big in the UK. Certain, bro.
America is easily the largest mall in the US. I took this to mean Britain has nothing close to its size. But if I'm wrong, and the comment actually meant that Trafford Centre doesn't have a sea life aquarium, it actually does. Anyway, since America does everything bigger is such a common refrain on this channel, I assumed that this extended to American malls in general. But unlike the Topshop logo, not everything is so black and white. First of all, America has a much higher concentration of strip malls, which surely brings down...
Wait, UFC gym? What, is this a gym literally made by the UFC?
On the average. Secondly, while America's 5 largest malls are all bigger than the UK's largest shopping centre, the UK's 3 largest would still make America's top 20. In other words, large shopping centres are justified in the UK, presumably because the country has more people per square mile than all but 4 US states. One of those states is New Jersey, home to American Dream Meadowlands, the 2nd largest mall in America. And what I discovered about American Dream, not to mention Trafford Centre, is that in 2024, they are thriving. But wait, you might say, isn't that the exact opposite of a ghost mall? Which leads me to ask, is my wife's cousin Chad mistaken? Are malls actually dying? Well, experts say that depends...
Wait, yeah, let me know in the comments. Do you guys prefer to do online shopping or actually go to the malls? I prefer to do online. Unless I'm really hungry, then I might go. Get some food, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, definitely online for me.
On their willingness to adapt. If these 16 years in America have taught me anything, it's that the only constant is change. Change to the thickness of my hair, change to the technology at our fingertips, or change to the people in power. Adapt or perish, wrote H.G. Wells. Now as ever is nature's inexorable imperative. And while he isn't here to speak for himself, Wells was definitely talking about malls.
Okay.
You see, American Dream recognized the need to introduce a water park because that experience cannot be replicated online and all.
Yeah, I feel like this is how malls, I don't know how we're going to do that in the UK, but I feel like we are introducing it a little bit. I know in Birmingham City Centre, they're introducing more like the VR laser shooter games, which are pretty fun. But that's how malls are going to survive. Like less kind of shops and more kind of like activity things. So, you know, water slides and all this and all that. Things that you can't get online, right? You go there and then you might nip to the shop because you're already there.
Also because not enough people were turning up to Best Buy in flippers. And speaking of staying afloat, thank you for subscribing to Lost in the Pond. And if you have...
Very, very, very interesting video. I definitely would love to check out the Mall of America. That actually looks insane. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. If you guys enjoyed, make sure you thumbs up, subscribe for more content. Live every single day on Twitch.tv/L3WG. If you guys want to check me out over there, I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.